My name is Gabriela. I'm a student from Staffordshire University in Business Management, and today I will be presenting a poster presentation on authentic leadership, and most especially on the topic of how leaders play a vital role in supporting employees' well-being. To be able to answer to that question, we will have to look at some theories, practices, leadership styles, different cultures, what are ethics, and a lot of other things. So let's start. In first place, we have to say what is the definition of authentic leadership, and we can say that this is a type of leadership that assumes leaders should act honestly and transparently and in ways that are true to themselves. Authentic leaders are self-aware and willing to be open with others and act in ways that are seen to be genuine. It is said to build trusting relationships with others and to lead to longer-lasting positive outcomes. It draws on the contested notion of what it means to be authentic and requires a capacity for self-awareness. As a second point, we will see what are the different leadership theories. What are leadership theories? They are a schools of thoughts brought towards to explain how and why certain individuals become leaders. The theories emphasize the traits and behaviors that individuals can adopt to boost their own leadership abilities. As a first, we will start with the great man theory, which is said that according to the great man theory, leaders are born with just the right traits and abilities for leading, such as charisma, intellect, confidence, communicational skills, and social skills. The theory suggests that the ability to lead is inherited, that the best leaders are born, not made. The term great man was adopted at the same time because leadership was reserved for males, particularly in military leadership. Second is the trait theory. The trait theory is very similar to the great man theory. It is based on the characteristics of different leaders, both the successful and unsuccessful ones. The theory is used to predict effective leadership. Usually the identified characteristics are compared to those of potential leaders to determine their likelihood of leading effectively. The third theory is the contingency theory, which emphasizes different variables in a specific setting that determine the style of leadership best suited for the said situation. It is founded on the principle that no one leadership style is applicable to all situations. Renowned leadership researchers Hodgson and White believe that the best form of leadership is one that finds the perfect balance between behaviors, needs, and context. Good leaders not only possess the right qualities, but they are also able to evaluate the need of their followers and the situation at hand. The fourth theory is the situational theory. The situational theory is similar to the contingency theory, as it also proposes that no one leadership style supersedes others. As its name suggests, the theory implies that leadership depends on the situation at hand. Put simply, leaders should always correspond their leadership to the respective situation by assessing certain variables such as the type of task, nature of followers, and more. As it's been created at different degrees by Hersey and Blanchard, the maturity of the followers is stated in 4 elements. M1 is that team members do not possess the motivation or tactical skills to complete necessary jobs. The M2 is team members are willing and ambitious to achieve something, but they lack the necessary ability. M3 is a team members possesses the skills and capacity to accomplish tasks, but they are not willing to take the accountability. M4 is a members possesses all the right talents and are motivated to complete projects. Fifth one theory is the behavioral theory, which focus is on the specific behaviors and actions of leaders rather than their traits or characteristics. The theory suggests that the effective leadership is a result of many learned skills. As a number 3 in our presentation, we will have a look at leadership styles. In the following 2 slides, we will see a situational leadership style, how it goes, and the leadership styles and behaviors related and compared to the first graph. We know there are lots of different leadership styles, and here I will be speaking about 4 main different styles. The first one is the telling style of leadership. It's characterized by one-way communication between the leader and the followers, wherein the former sets the context and the expectations from the group. Some leaders in family-owned businesses have to deal with the legacy left behind by their forebearers, as well as leave behind their distinctive style of leadership. Towards this end, some family business leaders, such as Ratan Tata of the Tata Group, have ensured that they articulated their vision for their companies that had huge ambitions and plans for global expansions. A second leadership style is the selling, also called coaching style. The literature on leadership and situational leadership in particular is clear that it is not enough to have vision without translating it into actionable strategies. Research has shown that this style is characterized by two-way communication between the leaders and the followers, wherein both are influenced by each other and by into each other's strategies. The third leadership style is the participating or supporting style. Situational leadership is evolutionary in nature, meaning that it is based on the progression of the leader through successive phases in his or her leadership. Having said that, the theory also states that some leaders tend to conform to one or more styles better than the other styles. This is applicable in the case of the late Steve Jobs of Apple, who is known more for his transitional, transformative, and trailblazing leadership rather than his participation in day-to-day running of the company. The fourth style we will discuss is the delegating style. The fourth style of leadership, according to the model, is that of a leader who does not direct and monitors the day-to-day running of the company and is instead engaged in higher value-adding processes. For instance, Bill Gates, who delegated much of the work that he was initially engaged in, has begun to focus on global plans for the company, especially at a time when the global macroeconomic environment was unfavorable. After that, we will speak about management and leadership comparison. How we can compare in the graph below, we will see. So we just have to say what are the differences. But what does a leader do? Leaders have a tendency to prize success and drive people, whereas managers work to find faults. A successful leader paints a picture of what they see is possible for the company to achieve and works to inspire and engage their people in turning that vision into a reality. Rather than seeing individuals as just a particular set of skills, they think beyond what they can do and activate them to be part of something much bigger. A leader in business is well aware of how high-functioning teams can accomplish a lot more when working together rather than individuals working autonomously. How to understand that difference? Both managers and leaders need to understand what they have to do and to achieve excellence in doing it. They need to comprehend the essence of the difference between them, as this is a matter of definition, understanding how the roles are different and where they might overlap. Managers, for example, will focus on setting, measuring, and achieving goals by controlling situations to reach or exceed their objectives. In the graph below, we can see that manager gives directions, has subordinates, holds authority, tells you what, has good ideas, reacts to change, tries to be a hero, exercises power, while the leader asks questions, has followers, is motivational, shows you how, actions got ideas, creates change, makes heroes, develops power. In our fifth point, we will speak about sources of power, consequences of power, and how they interact. Sources of power are based in 5 main points, and we'll call them now. Reward power is the first power. Compliance achieved based on the ability to distribute rewards that others view as valuable. Typical examples of rewards are salary increases, bonuses, and promotions. In addition, praise can be used as a reward. The second power is the coercive or punishment power, a power based, dependent on fear. It is the ability to administer unpleasant consequences. The implied force relates to traits and punishments. Some forms of coercive power include verbal abuse, lack of support, and disciplinary actions. The third is the referent power, which influence based on possession by an individual or desirable resources or personal traits, charismatic. It is based on interpersonal attraction. Followers identify with the leader and willing follow out of admiration and respect. The fourth is the expert power. Expert power is based on knowledge and or skills. Followers must perceive the agent as an expert and trust that expertise is valid and that the knowledge or skills are relevant and useful to them. As a fifth last, we say is the legitimate power. The power a person receives as a result of his or her position in the formal hierarchy of an organization. Legitimate power is allied to authority and is based on position in mutual agreement. This form of power is provided to individuals by the organization. Some managers resort to legitimate power if they are insecure with their ability to influence employees using other forms of power. In the graph below, we can see that the legitimate power have some other forms, which are contingency of power, substitutability, scarcity, centrality, importance, and visibility, our other powers. The consequences of power and the interrelations are in the following graph, like the reward and referent powers. The consequence of them is commitment. The legitimate and reward powers brings a consequence, the compliance, and the coercive or so-called punishment power, it brings as a consequence the resistance of employees. In our 6 points, we will speak about politics. Politics is a phenomenon in all kinds of organizations and is used by people or groups to gain power over others. Organizational politics involves different activities in the organization to acquire, develop, and use power and other resources to get desired results in vague situations. Politics can be considered as a process of bargaining and negotiating that is used to overcome conflicts and differences of opinion. The political activity in organizational results from the conversion of power into action. It is the consequence of the diversity of interests that exists in most human communities, and more directly from attempts to use power to affect organizational decision-making, or from activities that are self-serving and not organizationally sanctioned. According to Touchman, politics refers to the structure and process of the use of authority and power to affect the definition of goals, directions, and major parameters of the organization. In our 7th slide of the presentation, we will be speaking about organizational structure. In the first 2 graphs, we can see a same structure but positioned in different ways. The first one is presented in a hierarchical style, and the second one is presented like outcomes from each other and how they relate together. So on the first one, we can start from having fun, then trust, spot and groom, setting up for success, spot and groom future leaders, excellence is a two-way street, ownership is assigned and measured, leadership has time. This is the top of the pyramid, and on the next one we can see that flexibility gives you the opportunity to learning and the purpose. The interdependence is to care about and to order. Stability is having authority and having safety. Independence gives you the enjoyment and the result. When we speak about organizational culture, an organization's culture can support or undermine its business strategy. We help clients assess the alignment of culture and strategy, establish a target culture, and evaluate the degree to which executives are likely to fit with, adapt to, and shape culture. Our framework for assessing culture is rooted in the insight that each organization and each individual must address the inherent tension between two critical dimensions of organizational dynamics. Applying this fundamental insight, we have identified 8 primary and universal styles which we saw on the 2 graphs. As part 2 of our organizational culture, we can speak about different characteristics. The culture has innovative cultures, aggressive cultures, outcome-oriented culture, stable culture, people-oriented culture, team-oriented culture, and detail-oriented culture, service culture, and safety culture. All these are different dimensions, different types of cultures. As a point 8, we will speak about diversity and how we measure it. The diversity can be measured by managing a diverse and inclusive mobile workforce. Fostering a workforce diversity, especially at the managerial level, ranks high in the list of priorities at many companies. Yet, all too often, the role played by global mobility to help companies reach their goal is underestimated. Moving talent between jobs and between geographies is playing a key role in fostering diversity and inclusion. The mobility management teams should be at the forefront in the fight to tackle these issues. This can happen only when there is better collaboration between the mobility and the diversity teams. What do we mean by diverse and inclusive mobile workforce? A broad definition of diversity around should encompass all aspects of the employees from background, age, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, and family status, among other things. However, the presence of invisible minorities means that companies might not be aware of potential diversity issues. Furthermore, non-minorities can find themselves discriminated in some countries because of their marital status, unmarried couples, or specific situations, single parents. Families or assignees can also be the target of discrimination, even if the assignees themselves don't belong to discriminated groups. These issues could be easily overlooked by the company unless they are flagged by the assignees themselves. In the inclusive workforce framework, we can see a different dimensions by which the diversity is overseen. We can start with age, generation, lifestyle, followed by background, experience, industry, family status, gender, education, military service, thinking of personality, style, languages, race, ethnicity, culture or country of, office location, sexual orientation or LGBT ally, disability, and many more. How to measure diversity and the inclusion training success? In order to measure the success of the DIY, Training is not as straightforward as other training topics. It takes long-term tracking, benchmarking, and qualitative measurements. It's crucial to stay on track even if you don't immediately have tangible metrics to report back. Percentage change in leadership demographics is one of the first measurements that we have to do. It's based on how to measure percentage of women in leadership, how to measure percentage in minorities in leadership, rates of change in these roles. The next measurement we can say is the demographic makeup of employees. McKinsey's global study also finds that organizations in top quartile for ethnic cultural diversity were more likely to achieve above average profitability. If your leadership reflects diversity paired with unconscious bias training, it can lead to more diverse recruiting and hiring practices. As the next and last but not last measurements, we can gather feedback from survey results, which regular employee surveys are important to keep your employees top of mind and ensure your leadership is in touch with the organization's needs. After we spoke about diversity, we can say something more about morals and ethics. What is found as a moral and what is found as an ethical in the business. Guiding principles of conducting of an individual group, influenced by a profession, field, organization, related to professional work, uniform compared to morals. This is a business ethics. Principles on which one's judgment of right and wrong are based, influenced by society, culture, and religion, not related to professional work, vary according to different cultures and religions, are the morals. And as an end of our poster presentation, we can say a conclusion that a healthy, energetic, and focused employees are both more effective and more engaged than tired, stressed, and distracted employees. Much of the onus lies on the employees to maintain and improve their own well-being by eating healthy foods, being active, and getting enough sleep each night. Yet work factors also have a big impact on employee well-being. In organizations can play a critical role by fostering a work environment that supports well-being and better employee experiences. A key component for achieving a healthy work environment is the right leadership. Thank you for your attention.